Hello, I have a new story. It's called Franklin and Harriet. And you can see in the picture that they're what animal? You see? Turtles. There are a lot of Franklin books out. The author, Paulette Bourgeois, I should say two authors, and Brenda Clark. Paulette and Brenda have, I think, written several Franklin books, but this one is about Harriet and Franklin, and Harriet is his little sister. Okay, here we go. Franklin could count by twos, and he could tie his shoes. He helped his little sister Harriet zip zippers and button buttons. He showed her how to play peekaboo and pat a cake. He read stories and sang songs to her, and Franklin loved his little sister, and he liked being a big brother most of the time. And here's some cute pictures of them playing together. What do you think they're playing there? A blanket over his head, and then he peeks out and says, peekaboo. And there he is reading a story to his little sister. She looks up at him like she really likes him, and he's smiling too. I bet some of these pictures look kind of like something you may see at your house. Well, one day Franklin took Harriet outside to play. He pushed Harriet in her swing, like we saw on the cover, right? He held her hand as she went down the slide, but he didn't see the puddle at the bottom of the slide. So they're showing them playing outside and all the different things they're doing. And then here, going down the slide, there's a puddle down there, but he didn't see it. A mud puddle. Well, guess what happened? Oh no, cried Franklin. Harriet was covered in mud. Franklin looked around. Maybe he could clean her up before Father noticed. Harriet rubbed her face, and it got muddy too. And then she started to cry. Ah! So there he is looking around trying to think of what to do. And there's Harriet, a little bit frustrated because she's full of mud. Oh, and I forgot to point this out. That's his stuffy. We're going to learn about who that stuffy is, but that's Franklin's favorite. Please don't cry, begged Franklin. He gave Harriet her blanket. He made funny faces like, wah! He wiggled his nose and everything, but nothing stopped her sobbing. Wah! And then Franklin had an idea. He pretended that his stuffed dog Sam was a puppet. Franklin barked. Harriet smiled. Bad mud puddle, said Franklin. Harriet giggled, and she reached out to Sam and gave him a hug. Phew, said Franklin. He finally got her to stop crying. So here's, before he hands the dog, here's where he's making faces, sticking out his tongue and doing silly things. Nothing was working until he picked up Sam. That's the stuffy that he loves, a doggy. And he's showing it to Harriet, and she gives Sam a hug and giggles when he talks and barks and such. Franklin's father laughed when he saw Harriet. I think a bubble bath is in order, he said. Franklin was relieved. Sam needs one too. 2 baths coming up, said Franklin's father. Franklin helped fill the tub and stir up the bubbles. He checked to make sure the water was not too hot and not too cold. That's important, isn't it? So, here they are. And here's he saying, Sam needs a bath too. You know, Harriet was pretty muddy when she grabbed him, wasn't she? So here they are. There's Father, and Franklin, and muddy Harriet getting the water all ready and the bubbles bubbly. Just like when you take a bath, right? Well, just before bedtime, Franklin couldn't find Sam anywhere. Finally, he spotted Sam in Harriet's crib. Franklin wanted Sam back, but his mother didn't want to wake Harriet. I'm going to show you how she's all cuddled in, so sweet in her little baby crib. And look at her little arm is around little Sam. And look at Franklin. He looks a little concerned, doesn't he? Yeah. And Mother says, honey, she just doesn't want her to wake up him to wake up Harriet. Well, perhaps Harriet could sleep with Sam just this once, she suggested. Franklin didn't like that one bit either, but he didn't want Harriet to cry again. He didn't want that either. All right, he sighed. Only for tonight, he said. Well, the next morning, Harriet brought Sam to breakfast. Well, thanks, Harriet, said Franklin, reaching for his dog. But Harriet clung tightly to Sam. And Franklin tugged on Sam's tail. And Harriet tugged back. Uh-oh. Look what's happening. There's Harriet at the table in her high chair, and she's holding Sam's head, and Franklin's holding his tail, and they're playing one way, then the other way, and the other way, back and forth, and they wouldn't let go. He's mine, said Franklin. He's no mine, shouted Harriet. They pushed and pulled until something terrible happened. Sam's tail ripped right off. Franklin and Harriet both started to cry. Oh dear, said their mother. Can you fix him? Asked Franklin. I'll try, she answered. Franklin gave Harriet a nasty look, as if to say, if you had shared and given me my dog back. Look it, she's holding Sam, and Franklin's got his arms crossed. And what is Mom holding? The tail that came off. What do you think? Would you be upset? What do you think? Well, Franklin's mother used small, careful stitches to put Sam back together again. Good as new, she said when she finished. And Franklin put a bandage on Sam's tail and gave him a big hug. Harriet tried to hug Sam too, but Franklin held Sam up so high that she couldn't reach him. He did that on purpose. And his mother said, it would be nice if you shared Sam, said Franklin's mother. Here's a picture of Sam. There's his mom, just finished the sewing. And there's little Harriet wanting to reach. The little tail is on with a bandage. See, he had the bandages out. But he lifted him up high so she couldn't reach him. There, and he's walking away with his Sam, his stuffy. So when Mother said, I think it'd be nice if you shared Sam, Franklin didn't think it would be nice at all. And he held Sam tightly and stomped off to his room. Franklin decided that being a big brother could be a big problem. Harriet cried a lot. She needed to be watched every minute, and sometimes she was stinky. Yeah. And worst of all, she thought that Sam was hers. So Franklin did what any big brother would do. He put Sam in the toy box at the back of the cupboard. And I think he's saying at the back of the closet, where Harriet couldn't find him. Yeah, so there he is. He's got a box and some toys and shelves, and he's putting it way in the back. So that if she came in his room, here's all his toys and some odds and ends in his room and a little table. But if she came in his room, it would be hiding in his closet way in the back, so she couldn't find it. What do you think of that? Well, later, Franklin's mother asked if he wanted to go for a walk. Is Harriet coming? Asked Franklin. His mother nodded. Franklin sighed, but he got ready to go because he liked walks. Harriet put on her coat upside down and backward. Why did she do that? Because she's just a baby. She didn't know. She's learning, right? And Franklin said, "That looks silly," sniffed Franklin. His mother laughed and helped Harriet with her coat. So here she is. They're getting their hats and coats on, and oops, it's upside down and backwards. So Mom helps her get it on just right. That's how we learn, right, when we're little? Well, on their walk, Franklin picked a bouquet of beautiful dandelions for his mother. Remember dandelions, those pretty yellow flowers? "Thank you," she said. "They're lovely." Just then Harriet grabbed at the flowers. "No, Harriet," said Franklin. "Those aren't yours." Franklin's mother smiled. "Harriet is still little," she said. "She needs to learn how to share." Franklin's mother took some of the flowers and tucked them into her hat, and Harriet put the rest of the flowers, her flowers, into her mouth. Franklin hoped they tasted terrible. He was kind of frustrated because he gave these beautiful flowers to his mommy, and then she shared them with Harriet. And there's what Harriet's doing with them. And he's like, "That isn't what I was thinking." But his mom didn't. She took some of them because she thought that was very sweet of him to give her the flowers. But she also shared them with Harriet. Well, they walked for a long time. And pretty soon Harriet began to rub her eyes and yawn. And then she got cranky. What's that mean? Yeah, kind of cranky and crabby. Franklin's mother gave Harriet her blanket, a cookie, and even some milk. But nothing made Harriet happy. She started to cry. And then she got louder and louder. "Too bad Sam's not here," said Franklin. "He could make her stop crying." Now there they are walking. The little baby, the robin, and these two little, I'm not sure what animal they're supposed to be. I think mice. They're having a little picnic. It's so cute. I don't know if you can see that. They're having a picnic, and they're holding their ears because Harriet's crying so loud. Yeah. And what is Franklin doing? He's covering his ears because Harriet is got her mouth open and she's wailing. Wah! Have you ever covered your ears? Then Franklin had an idea. There was no Sam around, was there? So he put Harriet's blanket over his head and barked. What was he doing? He was pretending he was a dog, right? And when he did that, put that over his head, the blanket, and barked, guess what Harriet did? She giggled. "It's not Sam who makes Harriet happy," said Franklin's mother. "It's her big brother that does." "Really?" said Franklin. "Really," she answered. Well, Franklin walked a little taller, and then here he is playing with Harriet, and she's giggling now. Now, who's pushing the stroller? Franklin's pushing the stroller with his sister, right? Franklin decided that being a big brother was a good thing after all. He liked to make Harriet laugh, and sometimes he even let her play with Sam. But Franklin always made sure that Sam was back in his room by bedtime. There was only so much sharing a big brother can do. But he shared a lot of the day, didn't he? Shared all day, and Harriet could play with Sam, but at bedtime, it really was like his special stuffy, so he got to sleep with it. But look at her, and look at Franklin. They love each other, and she looks up to her big brother, and she's so glad they're friends because he makes her happy, doesn't he? Yeah. And he's glad to be a big brother. And that's the end. The back has a picture of all the different books like you like to look at sometimes. And there are a lot. Let me see if I can count. Let's see. 24. There's about 26 books in this selection about Franklin that we could maybe read sometime. Franklin's Neighborhood, Franklin's School Play, Franklin's Christmas Gift, a whole bunch of them. But for now, that was Franklin and Harriet. See ya!